to promote good governance. Federal government empowers NAFDAC to regulate processed packaged foods. 4 Pakistan soldiers killed in roadside blast. Good evening. Welcome to the news. My name is Maureen Stone Enujoke. The Anambra State government has urged the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, NITP, to bring their expertise to bear in addressing the increasing rate of building collapse in the country. The Chief of Staff to the Governor, Mr. Primus Odili, stated this when the national body of the Institute paid him a courtesy visit in his office at the Government House, Oka. Correspondent Chibuzo Obidike completes the report.
The Institute of Town Planners, NITP, was in the state to condole the state government in respect of recent building collapse at Onitsha, which claimed lives and seek for stronger partnership to avert further occurrence. Receiving the team, Mr. Odero revealed that the state government is committed to having a well-planned cities in the state, but regretted that most lofty visions in the building sector collapsed on the verge of implementation. The Chief of Staff challenged the association to come up with a roadmap that, when adopted, would achieve organized environment capable of attracting investors and addressing issues of building collapse in the state.
Investors are coming into an organized area. They know that this place is business area, this place is for this, that place is for residential, this place is... They know that, yes, this society is organized.
In an address, the national president, NITP, Chief Lekwa Ezeuta, commended the state government for legislating and implementing the Anambra State Physical Planning Law, which should be backed with creation of a body that is professionally equipped to determine structural integrity of building structures.
The Nigerian Institute of Town Planners is insisting that all our urban areas, towns and settlements must be planned to achieve the desired friendly environment that will minimize man's health challenges while improving safety and productivity in the environment.
The group equally paid a courtesy visit on the rector, Federal Polytechnic, Oko, where they detailed her that the Department of Urban and Regional Planning is ripe for postgraduate course. The NITP noted that since it is the only institution that offers the course in the state, there is need to review the master plan of the campus to guide development. Responding, the rector of Federal Polytechnic, Oko, Dr. Francisca Anyaflugo, thanked the institute for the visit and assured that the institution has mapped out strategies of expanding its structural development of its extension campuses for a better environment.
I thank God that God has led us to really open our eyes and our research on that purpose. And I believe that within a short time, we are going to have a breakthrough.
The national body of NITP later visited the School of Environmental Studies, where they encouraged the students to remain focused and as well educate them on the importance of the choosing profession for a brighter future. In Oka, Chibuzo Bidiki, ABS News.
Similarly, the national president, Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, Chief Lekwa Ezeuta, has called for collaborative efforts of all policymakers across the country to ensure that the environment is gas-free. Chief Ezeuta made the call when he led the executive members of the Institute on a courtesy call on the Obi of Onitsha, Igwe Alfred Achebe, in his palace as part of engagements to mark the World Environment Day. Correspondent Emengini Osadebe was there.
The national president, who pointed out that this year's theme is Beat Air Pollution, regretted the lack of planning of some areas in the country, saying that the air in urban areas is polluted with poisonous gases emitting from heavy machines, disposal and burning of waste, among others, and called on government to take urgent steps to address the issues.
To influence the policymakers, the public, as much as we can, to appreciate the purpose of town planning. That is why I'm moving around to talk to people about the need for that.
On his part, Igwe Achebe advised the group to give their members full support in elective positions in both federal and state governments so that they can be part of policymaking in the country, which, according to him, will help in curbing quackery in the profession, as well as help in making policies on urban planning.
Town planners have a major role. Maybe now become urban community just like Onitsha, because there's no water to plant. Maybe is industrializing very fast, and business are doing well. Oka is capital territory with lot new areas are being planned.
The team later visited the Ogidi of Obosi, Chief Emeka Onwekwe, who is a fellow of the institute, where they asked him to advocate for the appreciation of town planning for the good of society. Also, Engineer Onwekwe appreciated the national president and his team for the honor done him and urged both federal and state governments to pay more attention to town planning in various cities to curb incessant building collapse being witnessed in some parts of the country.
Without town planning, you won't get any meaningful development in the city, because you have to work with town planners that prepare the master plan for the city. And with that plan, and it's the town planners that implement the plan.
Speaking to the ABS, the state chairman, Nigeria Institute of Town Planners, Anambra State Chapter, Mr. Maduakonam Amechina, said their national president's visit to Anambra State was part of the activities mapped out to mark this year's World Environment Day, adding that the tour is also aimed at intimating people on the need to appreciate the efforts of town planners.
Meanwhile, the Justice, Development and Peace Commission, JDPC, on Onitsha region of the Catholic Church has joined their counterparts world over to mark the 2019 UN World Environment Day. This they did by embarking on sensitizing the public through roadwork for life and to deal fairly with the environment. World Environment Day was commemorated on the 5th of this month. Franca Ononuju has the details.
The campaign started from Sacred Heart Parish, Odabo, through Modebe Avenue, Ochanja Market to Opiweka Road, and extended to Spare Parts Market, Abuja Park, Oguta Road, and Ekene Junction, all in Onitsha. They display placards with inscriptions, "Keep your environment clean, stop blocking the gutters," among others. Speaking on the significance of the day, the Onitsha Regional Chairman of JDPC, Mr. Vitus Orebuna, regretted that people no longer care about their environment and advised that they should imbibe the culture of cleanliness.
Today is a day set aside to have a critical look and research over our deeds towards our environment. We observe from our exercise that many people use the waste products to block the drainages.
In his remarks, the chairman organizing committee, Mr. Anthony Okafor, explained that death breeds mosquitoes, which causes malaria, and advised people to shun indiscriminate dumping of refuse.
So anyway, so na akọwarafa na ihe a na-awụ n'ime gota abụghị the best maka na ịbịa now na Ọnịcha anwụnta karịa. Kedu ihe na-amụ anwụnta? Ọ bụ mmiri dọrọ na gota, mmiri ahụ ya hapụ apụ.
Some participants expressed happiness and hope that the sensitization will caution the people against disposing their refuse inside the gutters and along the road. They call on the government to recruit youth environmental task force, whose duty will be to arrest and prosecute defaulters. From Onitsha, Franca Ononuju for ABS News.
The Speaker, Anambra State House of Assembly, Mrs. Rita Madagu, has charged legislators-elect for the 7th State House of Assembly to enact quality laws for the state in order to be good reference points. Barrister Madagu made the call at the induction workshop for the legislators-elect in Oka. House of Assembly correspondent Chukwemeka Modelim was there and now reports.
Speaking on the theme of the workshop, Enhancing Good Governance Through Legislation, the Speaker described the workshop as apt because, according to her, it would prepare the legislators-elect to take off successfully for the task ahead. She encouraged them to de-emphasize selfish interest and focus on performing the three cardinal functions of lawmaking, oversight, and credible representation. The Speaker urged them to carry their constituents along to enhance their living standard, adding that they should always organize town hall meetings and empowerment programs for the development of their various constituencies. On his part, the clerk of the House, Mr. Pius Udo, explained that the workshop, which lasted for 3 days, has exposed the legislators-elect to the processes involved in passing bills, raising motions, and oversighting government organs, among others.
What we have done is to give them a bird's eye view of what they are coming to do, because you know that what they are coming to do will affect the lives of the people of Anambra.
Meanwhile, a mock session was held yesterday by the staff of the Anambra State House of Assembly for the legislators-elect to acquaint them on the processes at the chambers. In a vote of thanks, the member-elect for Nnewi North constituency, Mr. Nonso Okafor, while expressing gratitude over the mock session, noted that it aided the easy assimilation of the workshop they had in the last 3 days.
I want to appreciate the clerk of the House, the mock parliamentarians, and every other persons who have made this particular mock sitting a success.
On his part, the member-elect for Anambra West constituency, Chief Patrick Udoba, said he is now set to sponsor bills for the good governance of Anambra State, as well as give his constituents effective representation. For the member-elect for Anocha 2 constituency, Chief Ejike Okechukwu, the exercise is a right step in the right direction. From the State House of Assembly, it's been Chukwuemeka Modelem, ABS News.
The people of Ikenga village, Ogidi, and Umusiome Mpo, both in the Idemili North Council area, want the State Boundary Committee to intervene in the land feud around the borders of the two communities. This is because, according to the Ikenga Ogidi family, it has resulted in loss of life of one of their own and many others sustaining injuries. Correspondent Valentine Mbadua reports.
In the press in Oka, the president of Ikenga Ogidi Family Union, Mr. Amechi Ekume, decried what he called recent attempts by their neighbors to encroach in their own part of the boundaries, including through the use of force, even after the matter has been settled by the Supreme Court of Nigeria and gazettes in the state. Mr. Ekume alleged that the people of Umusiome of Mpo last week carried out a surprise attack on some of their kinsmen who went to the boundary on inspection, which resulted to the death of one Chief Anthony Okongu, aged 70, while other 3 sustained various degrees of injuries. According to him, this matter has been reported to Ogidi Police Division, but regretted that the police are not doing enough to put the situation in check.
The judgment of the Supreme Court by restricting both communities to their own side of the divide. The boundaries are clear. The Supreme Court judgment is clear. As a matter of fact, the matter went right from the High Court to the Supreme Court, back to High Court to Supreme Court. In all cases, the Ikenga Ogidi defeated poor people, and they were the ones instituting the cases. Now, even after the Supreme Court judgment, which is still subsisting, they are now claiming to have gone to court again to sue the state government that they made a mistake in the way they put the boundary monuments in place. So if you went to court, I believe you ought to wait for the judgment of the court to come out so that you know what to do. Meanwhile, there is already a Supreme Court judgment. Why not respect it?
Reacting on the allegation, when contacted, the chairman of Umusiome Mpo, Chief Pius Obiobolu, said that they are not challenging the Supreme Court judgment, but the Anambra State Government Gazette, which, according to him, was wrongly interpreted. He called for re-examination of the boundary by the Anambra State Boundary Committee. On his part, the chairman of Umusiome Landlord Association, Mr. Daniel Aleneme, said that the landlords has no issue with the people of Ikenga Ogidi, stressing that their own concern is for peace to reign between the two communities. The police public relations officer of the Anambra State Police Command, Mr. Haruna Muhammad, who spoke through a telephone interview, said that the case is under investigation. In Oka, Valentine Mbadowa, ABS News.
And still to come after the break, federal government empowers NAFDAC to regulate processed packaged foods. 4 Pakistan soldiers killed in roadside blasts. Stay with us.
My name is Engineer Tony Okechukwu, the President General of Oka Development Union, Nigeria. The Central Executive Council of Oka Development Union, Nigeria is inviting the general public and the entire people of Oka to the grand finale of Ebu Moka Cultural Festival 2019, holding on Sunday, the 9th of June 2019 at Olulu Imoka near the Four Market, Ameni, Oka. We also wish to use this medium to inform all that Oka people will not tolerate any breach of peace within Oka, and that we will take all measures to ensure a safe, free festival for the Oka community. You are therefore invited to be part of us as we celebrate this annual event, thanking God for His mercies upon the Oka people. We wish you all a safe participation in the festival.
People look at me with pity. Opportunity are given to the others, even when I'm qualified.
Sometimes people don't see you for what you're really worth.
They cannot see that I'm more than this.
At Access Bank, we see you not for who you are today, but for who you will be tomorrow. Access, more than banking.
And glad to know you're still watching. The federal government has empowered the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, to undertake more effectively its mandates in the regulation of processed and packaged foods in the country. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Health, Mr. Abdullahi Mashi, said this at a news conference to mark the 2019 World Food Safety Day in Abuja. Mashi, who said that the theme for this year's celebration is food safety, everyone's business, added that food remains an essential part of daily life. He said that the Federal Executive Council had also approved that the Food Safety and Applied Nutrition Directorate of NAFDAC be expanded to ensure it becomes more efficient and effective to achieve its mandate. He said that it was imperative that Nigeria institutes an effective and coherent national food safety management system. 4 soldiers were killed and another 4 were wounded by a roadside bomb blast in a tribal area of northwestern Pakistan in the latest attack in recent weeks in the restive North Waziristan region, officials said. Security officials said the device was planted on a road in Kwama, an area where security forces had recently conducted a search operation following a previous roadside bomb attack. The Pakistani Taliban, which is separate from the Afghan Taliban, claimed responsibility for the attacks, according to Mohammed Kurusani, a spokesman for the movement, many of whose members are based across the border in Afghanistan. Pakistan forces have conducted a series of operations against militant groups, including the Pakistani Taliban in North Waziristan, over recent years, although officials now say the area has barely been pacified. In our sport, Super Eagles coach Gerald Raw has said that with the quality of players at his disposal, he was at a loss in deciding the 2 players to be dropped from the 25-man provisional squad for the African Cup of Nations. Gerald Raw, who is expected to name his 23-man team for the tournament after today's international friendly match against Zimbabwe at the Stephen Keshi Stadium, Asaba, Delta State, said it is difficult to send 2 players out of his wonderful team. On the goalkeepers in the team, he said, as today, he doesn't know who among Francis Uzoho, Ikechukwu Ezenwa, and Daniel Akpeyi, who is #1 goalkeeper. And remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by liking our Facebook page at ABS Radio Television and subscribe to our YouTube at youtube.com/ABS Radio TV Online. And follow us on Twitter at ABS Radio TV and also on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. You can also log on to our website www.absradiotv.com. And just before we go, a recap of the main points. Anambra State government has restated its commitment towards proper physical planning. State legislators-elect have been urged to enact quality laws to promote good governance. Federal government has empowered NAFDAC to regulate processed packaged foods. And on the foreign scene, 4 Pakistan soldiers have been killed in a roadside blast. That's it on the news. Thanks for watching. My name is Maureen Stone Emijoki. Good night.